This is your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. I am Merciful Ajinomo, and you are watching TOS News Update. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has presented a reviewed report on the 2019 general elections in the nation's capital city, Abuja, this Wednesday. In his keynote address, PDP National Secretary Uche Secondus lauded the report committee, which is chaired by the Bauchi State Governor of Bala Mohammed, noting that the report is a roadmap for the party's success story come 2023. According to Secondus, PDP is ready to take over power in the forthcoming election and rescue the country from bad governance. And the federal government has tasked the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society and other relevant professional bodies in the sector to initiate programs that would enhance the economic and infrastructural development of the country. According to a statement by the Director of Grassroots Sports Development, Dr. Ademola Are, the event, which will be attended by football stakeholders, is to deliberate on how to leverage on the untapped business opportunities in Nigerian football. The Kaduna State government said troops of the Nigerian Army on Wednesday rescued the 10 victims kidnapped from the Kaduna Airport staff quarters on March 6. The Commissioner for International Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, made the disclosure at a press conference in Kaduna. It could be recalled that bandits breached the fence of the Kaduna Airport staff quarters in the early hours of March 6 and kidnapped these 10 persons from 2 houses located near the fence. And the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate alleged sabotage responsible for frequent shutdown of Warri Refinery towards addressing the problem. The resolution was sequel to the adoption of a motion by Representative Ben Igbakpa at plenary on Wednesday. Speaking, Igbakpa said that the Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company was mandated to produce refined product from mainly local crude. Violence took over the scene at Surulere Baptist School in Ilorin on Wednesday as Christian staff of the school confronted an order by the Kwara State government. The state government asked the 10 mission schools closed down over hijab issue to resume classes. According to report, the Muslim girls who resumed for classes in their hijab dress code were stopped by the Christian staff of the school, which provoked the girls and their parents on the ground. This is your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, and you're watching News Update. Do stay. You're welcome back. And now across Africa, after some weeks of uncertainty over the health and whereabouts of President John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania, Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan late on Wednesday disclosed his demise. Suluhu, in a televised address to the nation, said the 61-year-old president had died of a heart condition which he suffered for a decade at the hospital in Dar es Salaam. The vice president said Magufuli had first been briefly admitted to the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute on March 6th, but was subsequently discharged. But he was rushed to hospital again on March 14th after feeling unwell. President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the horrific attack on a convoy returning from a weekly market in Niger Republic's Talabere region, in which many citizens were killed. President Buhari, in a statement issued by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja last night, expressed his condolences to families of victims and all citizens of the neighboring country. And now to Togo, the government will organize general assemblies in the husbandry sector. These assemblies will gather all actors engaged in the sector to reflect on reforms likely to boost the country's output and especially tackle the 45% deficit in meat product at the national level. Indeed, the country records a shortfall in this area despite production in subsectors like poultry and small ruminants having improved with the PASA. The latter also helped increase its beneficiaries' income by 50%. President of Tunisia, Kais Saied, visited Libya days after the new Libyan government of national unity took the oath of office. The visit was the first of its kind since 2012. The visit was to support the democratic path in Libya, which aims to hold national elections in December in a bid to end its decade-long conflict. The long years of conflict have resulted in prolonged border closures that have hit the volume of business, particularly in the informal trade in consumer goods that is an economic mainstay in border areas. And now to news on the international scene. We begin from North Korea, where authorities recently held a lecture for people in the Sino-North Korean border region that officially announced the creation of an agency that will monitor and control non-socialist and anti-socialist behavior, while calling on everyone to participate in an operation to sweep away such elements. A political lecture was held for people along the Sino-North Korean border in Boeryong on March 7th. The lecture emphasized that everyone needs to participate in the struggle to suppress and eliminate anti-socialist and non-socialist acts. Dutch voters are casting their ballots at thousands of polling stations across the Netherlands on the final day of a Dutch general election, overshadowed by the global pandemic that could return Prime Minister Mark Rutte to power. Churches, gyms, museums and halls have been converted to voting centers by authorities looking for venues where people could vote safely and rising infection rates. Europe's first COVID election of 2021 has taken place over 3 days, with the elderly and at risk voting at selected locations on Monday and Tuesday before the polls opened for everyone else on Wednesday. And now to business. The Naira for Dollar scheme, recently introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, has failed to incentivize the foreign exchange market as Naira weakened further against the dollar at the parallel market. At the parallel market, the Naira depreciated by 1.04% to 485 Naira per dollar. On the same trend with the Bureau de Change segment, where Naira depreciated by 0.42% to close the weekend at 477 Naira per dollar rather. The Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative on Tuesday vowed to ensure the recovery of 69.5 billion naira and $5.31 billion for the federal government. The Executive Secretary Naiti Obonaya Oji said this during his inaugural press briefing in Abuja, stressing that the monies were potential recoverable revenues which Naiti under his watch must recover. He said the current management under my leadership is already evolving policies and strategies that would ensure that the recommendations in our report are followed through. Shareholders of Zenith Bank PLC on Tuesday at the 30th Annual General Meeting of the bank, held at the Civic Centre, Victoria Island, Lagos, unanimously approved the proposed final dividend of 2.70 Naira per share, bringing the total dividend payment for the 2020 financial year to 3 Naira per share with a total value of 94.19 billion Naira. This followed the recent release of the bank's audited financial result for the 2020 financial year. According to the audited financial result, profit before tax rose by 5% to 255.9 billion Naira from 243.3 billion Naira reported in the previous year, despite a challenging macroeconomic environment exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. And now to news on the entertainment scene. Cardi B and Candace Owens have been going at each other for days after the latter tried to shame the rapper for her sexually charged performance of WAP at the Grammys. Following Cardi B's performance with Megan Thee Stallion, Candace appeared on Fox News to slam Cardi's sexual moves while adding that she's not a great role model for kids. Cardi B hit back and things went down the hill from there, with both women calling each other out, accusing each other's husbands of infidelity and threatening to sue. And talking film, especially Nollywood in Nigeria, popular entertainment company G Worldwide has made its entry into the Nigerian filmmaking space with the making of a feature film, Sugar Sugar, scheduled for a March 26 release in cinemas across Nigeria. Sugar Sugar, a romantic comedy centered around the family of a wealthy billionaire whose lust for young girls tears his family apart, features Taiwo Obileye, Charles Ino, Ayo Adesanya, Wole Ojo, Gregory Ojefoa, Tana Adelana, Vivian Enani, and Kristen Paul. The feature is produced by New York Film Academy graduate Louisa Williams, directed by Richard Iboyi, and has Festus Ahimari as the executive producer. You're still watching TOS Television News Update. Up next is Sport This Day. You're welcome back. The two heavyweight world champions agreed on terms in principle last year, but have now put pen to paper after contracts were finalized. The first fight is expected to take place in June or July, with Saudi Arabia in pole position to play host, with both fighters set to earn £100 million. And the winner will be crowned the first undisputed heavyweight world champion since Lennox Lewis in 1999 after the WBO agreed to waive Joshua's mandatory responsibilities. Negotiations are still ongoing over where and when the fight will take place, with as many as 8 countries throwing their heart into the ring. And now to football. Minister of Youth and Sport Development Chief Sunday Dare, NFF President Pinnick Amaju, and former Green Eagles player Chief Segun Odingbami and others will be charting a new course for Nigerian football business at the Football Stakeholders Forum. The event, slated for the 26th of March 2021, will be at the Ilaji Hotels and Sports Resort, Oloyo Village, Akronan, Ibadan, Oyo State. According to a statement by the Director of Grassroots Sport Development, Dr. Ademola Are, the event, which will be attended by football stakeholders, is to deliberate on how to leverage on the untapped business opportunities in Nigerian football. And that is it from TOS News Update on your digital first Pan-African News Network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television. I am Merciful Ajinomo. Thanks for watching.